we're going to talk about the basics of the graphs of both the tangent and the cotangent functions. Now, to do that, first we need to understand the unit circle and how these values work. So if we think about, let's just start with tangent. So we have talked about in other videos with trig that the tangent is y over x. So if we think about our unit circle, we can find the tangent at any point based off the ordered pair at that point on our unit circle, y over x. So at 0 and also 2 pi, since they're at the same spot, if I do y over x, that's 0 over 1, which is 0. So we would have the point 0, 0, also the point 2 pi, 0 on our graph. Let's work our way around. At 0, 1, if I would do y over x, we cannot divide by x. So at pi over 2, we are undefined. Anytime you're undefined, that means you're going to have a vertical asymptote. All right, let's go over to pi. So at pi, we would take y over x. So at pi, we're at a value of 0. At 3 pi over 2, we have y over x, and again, undefined. So you can see at multiples of pi over 2, we are going to be undefined. Now, if we just start there, if we look at our graph, we could say, okay, at pi over 2, we're undefined. At 3 pi over 2, we are undefined. Well, that's going to work in both directions, okay? So we have all of these vertical asymptotes. Then we also know that at 0, 0, 0, pi 0, 2 pi 0, it's going to work for all of them. So with those 4 key points, we only have the x-intercepts. So in order to graph these, we're going to need a little bit more. So let's go back to our unit circle and think about this. All right, so if I go with let's go with pi over 4. So let's do a 45-degree angle. Well, we know on our unit circle, pi over 4 is radical 2 over 2, radical 2 over 2. I chose this one on purpose because it makes my life a little easier. If we put y over x, anything over itself is just 1. So at pi over 4, we are going to have the value of 1. Well, let's work our way around. So if I go this way and I say, okay, now we're at the 3 pi over 4, our ordered pair is negative radical 2 over 2, radical 2 over 2. Well, now that's a positive divided by a negative. So at 3 pi over 4, we are going to have the value of negative 1. At 5 pi over 4, we are negative radical 2 over 2, negative radical 2 over 2. So that's going to give us the ordered pair of 5 pi over 4, 1. And then the last one of 7 pi over 4, that ordered pair is radical 2 over 2 and negative radical 2 over 2. So once again, we have a value of negative 1. Now, that allows us, if we look at this and say, okay, at pi over 4, which is here, we have a value of 1. Great. That means this is going to go up. And if we think about how this works, we have our asymptotes, right? And now we also know at 3 pi over 4, we're at negative 1. So this side goes down. And at, go up. What was the other? I don't remember all the other ones that we did. But it works this way, okay? So it's going to end up going this direction. That from our x-intercept, we go up, we increase to the right, decrease to the left. And this is our tangent function. Not too shabby. Okay, well, how do you think this impacts the cotangent function? So let's go back to our really messy unit circle here. Because remember, the cotangent is going to flip. Right? If tangent is y over x, then the cotangent is x over y. So if you think about your pairs, well, 1, 0. Now if I put x over y, I have 1 over 0. Now this is undefined. So for the cotangent, let me just put this out. So for the cotangent at 0, pi, 2 pi, at all of our multiples of pi, this is where we are going to be undefined. So this is where my vertical asymptotes are going to be. If you think about our pi over 4, our 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, and 7 pi over 4, which we just found, those are going to be the same. Because we have, x over y, y over x, if x and y are the same, just maybe different signs, that doesn't matter which one we go by. So our pi over 4 is still going to be pi over 4, 1, 3 pi over 4, negative 1, 5 pi over 4, 1, and 7 pi over 4, negative 1. Those are going to stay the same. So what does that look like when we graph? Well, now our asymptotes are at 0, pi, 2 pi. Right? So our whole entire, our asymptotes shift. So now if I say, okay, at pi over 4, we have pi over 4, 1. So that's here. And then at 3 pi over 4, we're at negative 1. So it's going to go up and it's going to go down. And then at 5 pi over 4, we're at 1. And at 7 pi over 4, we're at negative 1. So again, we're going to go this way. All right, so you can see how it looks just a little bit different. So if we compare tangent, which increases from left to right, cotangent decreases from left to right. So those pi over 4 multiples are what really are helpful in determining whether or not you have a positive one or a negative one. But if you just can think about, okay, so if I have a tangent goes this way, and then the cotangent goes the other way. Yeah, that's kind of the basics. So that's kind of the basics of what you need to know if you're going to graph the tangent and the cotangent.